Hello. So kit bikes are basically a bit too easy to start up. When my bike used to have a file driver controller, I had an ignition switch on it, but that came off like 4 months ago or so, and I got a generic controller with a UKC1 display, but I didn't want to use the start password because it slows you down quite a bit. So I thought I'd see what there was in terms of like keyless ignition. Typically I don't have a DC to DC converter on the bike, so I was looking at switching battery voltage, and this is just the order they turned up in. This is possibly the nicest unit because it's got mounting points and it's fairly compact, but it's only suitable for up to 17S, rated for 30 amps. Don't overvolt these because they go bang. I haven't tested that extensively on a bike, but it seems like a fairly well made unit. Then this turned up, and literally I only paid £6 for the first one of these that I bought, and input DC 10 to 90 volts, max load 40 amps. As with this unit, you've got your ring terminal fixing, but I think if I was going to run a heavy load, I'd probably look to be soldering to the board and just modding the case. Anyway, I tested one of these for a month on my bike and had absolutely no issues with it, except obviously it's a little bit large for a bicycle, but on a dirt bike with a bit of spare room, it's probably quite a good unit, because obviously you've got the override if you do have any problems. Then this little unit turned up, which did require a bit of a leap of faith, because it says AC 85 to 250 volts, rated it to 1000 watts. Inside you've got 400 volt capacitors. It's also rated for 24 to 100 volts DC. It did take a bit of a leap of faith, but I've had one of these on my bike for 2 months, and apart from the fact that it's still a bit larger than I'd like, it's been flawless. In fact, these are the units I'm kind of going with, and then I thought might as well see what there is to run if you've got a DC to DC converter, and I came up with this little unit, which is, there's one wire which is not connected, but if you want to use it for a different purpose, the normally connected wire would go in there. Obviously you have to solder that in yourself, but you can use these for other purposes, but they only accept 5 to 24 volts input voltage. And then there's just a little relay, which I've got a mock-up working on a Sabaton controller, and obviously this is much smaller potentially, apart from the fact that you haven't got the voltage available inside the controller until it's on. This is pretty compact solution in that it gives you a small converter at the same time. So I've got a couple of units mocked up that I've just slung together. I'm just going to ditch this lot and bring those in. I realised that in the first bit I shot you couldn't actually see the cables I was referring to, so just in the middle between the power and the relay connections, there's an empty terminal. You can solder in a normally closed connection there, but basically this is just connected to the ignition part of the Sabaton, which you can't see again. It's incredibly straightforward, and as long as you're switching low current, I'd be happy to put this on a 26S bike. And then you get the best response if you've got this kind of display, because you get instant feedback. I must admit I miss this kind of, like, the bike's on and ready to go. Anyway, I hope that's given you some of you food for thought. Thanks for watching, and all the best. Bye.